So, this story begins with a few light bulbs. Dutch winter days can get as dark as this one, so we need lights to cheer up and clear the path. Philips knew that very well. This is also the first picture we published in the newborn Dutch Gazette on the 15th of January, almost 4 years ago. The idea of building a magazine that could build a bridge between the Spanish-speaking community and the Netherlands was finally a reality. Sharing it through all social media platforms gave it a second push. And there it was, free, online, and accessible to everyone. But perhaps I should start by saying that as a journalist who finalized her studies in the late 90s, internet frightened me very much. It still does. Click-based fast journalism, overwhelming information, and the quest for authenticity in a platform in which the top 3 Google searches from last year were the World Cup and the death of 2 young artists, the DJ Avicii and the North American rapper Mac Miller. Looking for a space from which to inform in an in-depth manner about Dutch issues and in Spanish, to be honest, I thought my magazine would quickly drown in the depths of the internet abyss. But it didn't. On the contrary, internet gave me the chance to develop my own project from the scratch, thanks to a free site builder, which ended up being much more user-friendly than I thought. So it was on that cold morning, at home, in my pajamas, and heavily pregnant of my 3rd child, that I clicked on publish, and right after became an online digital media entrepreneur fully committed to bring the best trustworthy journalism. I'm sure you might now be thinking that these 2 ideas match perfectly well. An online digital media entrepreneur sounds cool. The best trustworthy journalism sounds even better. But actually, no. I realized quite soon that these 2 ideas clash against each other. Because in order to be competitive on the internet, an online media often has to compromise the length or the quality of its content. News on the internet moves so fast that in order to remain on the peak, one must be publishing all the time, non-stop. According to Times Magazine, 55% of the websites get an average of 15 seconds of our attention. And the usual time spent in a web page is only 8 seconds. Can you imagine? 8 seconds and your reader is gone. So pretending to be unique, original, and good in such a high speed, it is really impossible for a tiny team. So we had to make a choice. And we decided to go for slow journalism, or how I like to call it, grey journalism. But what does grey journalism actually mean? We are not aiming only at grey-haired readers. And this is not a tribute to the Dutch skies. No, by grey journalism, I mean the space that lies between the black and the white, between the highly super sexy and positive news and the most dark sensationalist ones. Because it's in these 22 grey pantons that reality occurs and that all perspectives of a topic actually take place. So this is how I wanted to inform about the country I'm living in. I started to look for the best colleagues, professionals who put themselves at the back of story and let the main voices speak out. The picture is from the co-owner of the magazine, and together with us, another 12 writers, photojournalists, architects, and even a psychologist have joined in the team. We publish an average of 2 to 3 articles per week, and this takes us 3 weeks to prepare. We have decided to have no advertising, and all of them get paid for the job. We also rely only on trustworthy sources, mostly from academia, and from both sides, because we have to include them even if what they have to tell us doesn't actually match our initial expectations. So it is funny, I have to stress the fact that freelancers get paid for the job and that we include all opinions. But unfortunately, this is not such a commonplace nowadays. So after a few years and a lot of effort, we managed to achieve our goal. Instead of attracting our readers through a click-based newsroom, we do it through a content-based newsroom. But let me tell you a story to exemplify this. 2 years ago, a national debate took place in the Netherlands around the broader legislation on euthanasia. The country is well known for being the first one in the world to approve its practice in 2002. So we felt this was a good moment to talk about the topic. And we started looking for the good sources. One of them was quite tricky to get. It is a GP who belongs to the medical estate program in charge of the euthanasia cases. She herself had given advice on 150 cases and had led 50 of them. We received her email agreeing on doing the interview only 3 days before the publishing. At that time, we were also busy thinking on which picture could best match the topic we were talking about in a non-biased and respectful manner. When we came out with one picture, and we also did the interview to this main source, the publishing came out 1 week later. When my mother read it, I remember she said, "I liked very much the article, but I still don't know what you think about it." This was the best compliment I could have received. I still don't know what you think about it. Because by putting content first against time pressure, a small media team like us was able to produce a big story like this one. As I just told you before, we are a magazine who want to build bridges among cultures. So we felt we were doing it only on one direction, about the Dutch culture to the Spanish-speaking community residing in the Netherlands. And we wanted to go a bit further. We wanted to be also a bonding role among these 100,000 people who reside in the Netherlands and speak Spanish. So this is how we created a new section, Free Access, in which we inform every week about the cultural agenda that takes place in the country in Spanish. We inform as well with sponsored interviews about what professionals are doing for the Spanish community. And we also include institutional news from consulates who want to inform their citizens about issues that affect them, such as the coming elections in their own country. Very shortly, we realized that this section was the most viewed one of the website, which shows that migrants like me, we need to belong to a community with a shared language and a shared culture in order to integrate better in the new country we are living in. So this is how Gaceta Holandesa became not only an informing point about the Netherlands, but also a meeting point for offline connections. But I'm sure you might be now thinking, this project sounds very nice, but with no advertising and not dependent on clicks and likes, how profitable is this magazine? Well, I have to be honest with you, and this is not surprising, it is not a money machine. We rely on our readers to do our work, on a subscription-based model that slowly but firmly is valuing what we do all over the world. From Venezuela, where a mother of one of our subscribers gets to know better the country her daughter lives in, to Spain, where a woman who lives in a small town goes every Thursday to the public library to read the latest news about a country she would have loved to visit once. And in Amsterdam, an Argentinian man who lives in a boathouse sent us a letter asking us for help to know what actually lies beneath her home and how are the canals preserved and cleaned. So it is thanks to all of them that after 4 years, we are still running, which shows that tortoises are also welcome in the internet jungle. So if you ask me again if this magazine is a success, I would certainly say yes, it is. And it has taught me one main lesson. When it comes to online media, the quest for truth, for high-quality content, and a good care of the professionals who work with you is essential. It is possible and must prevail above all. We often hear that people do not read, but I prefer to think that we all like to read if we're given the good stuff. So more and more, medium and large media are starting to embrace this new model, basing their work on the trust of the readers to create great journalism, the one that opens the minds and feeds the critical thinking. Because it's only with them that societies will thrive. Thank you.